Hi, I'm Wendy Hernandez with Affirm Fit. So today we are going to talk about stretching. Stretching is very vital in order to have all your tendons and ligaments stretched out and have your muscles all performing and stretched before you work out and as well as after. So it's important that when you stretch that you have everything positioned correctly, and you want to be able to hold your balance, as well as holding the position for about 10 to 12 seconds for beginners. Now, advocate stretchers like yoga or those that are perform stretching on a daily basis can hold for about 30 seconds. But again, it is very, very important that you stretch before and after workouts, so that way that reduces any injuries when you go into doing certain holds or certain positionings or putting a load to the body. This stretch here stretches the calf muscles. Okay, so start. This stretch here stretches the calf muscles individually, holding for 10 seconds, making sure the feet is aligned. Now we are stretching both the hamstrings and then individually stretching each hamstring. As you can tell, we are actually working from the bottom up with stretching. So now I'm going into the lower lumbar region, which is L4 and L5. And then as we are rotating, we're actually rotating on the axis of the spine, lubricating that area. And then we're actually stretching the oblique muscles here. Now this stretch here, I interlocked my fingers, which actually stretch the joints of the fingers. And then I pull upwards, and this is actually stretching the abdominal cavity. And then you can see I'm adding another oblique stretch. This here is actually doing range of motion, so it's called ROM. This is actually lubricating the glomerulus capsule. And then I'm doing an elevation and depression of the scapula, which is your shoulder girdle. And then we're actually rotating the actual capsule. A lot of people forget to stretch their neck muscle. Okay, hi, I'm Wendy Hernandez again with Affirm Fit. Today we're going to talk about the importance of making sure that you work the proper way with the lower body. That includes your hamstrings, your quads, your calf muscles, your feet muscles. When you're doing squats, you want to make sure that you are doing it properly. You want to make sure that you align the feet in the right direction. You want to make sure that if you add weights to squats, that you turn your feet certain directions so that it's a tabletop effect. Now, when it comes to working out the lower body, you need to make sure that you are working both of them simultaneously, that you're working the two muscles, for example, the agonist and the antagonist. That means primary and sister muscles. So you want to make sure that you're doing all of those. When you're working the lower body, you just don't want to work the front of the leg. You also want to work the back of the leg. You also want to work the side and the which we call lateral, and then the medial of the leg. Don't forget about the calf muscles as well. So all of those are very important in building the bottom of the base of your body. Okay, this is actually doing squats. As you can see that I'm working the agonist and the antagonist, which is the primary and sister muscles. So that's going to be working the muscles of the anterior and posterior of the thigh. I'm using my arms as a balancing, but I'm also working my arms as well. This right here is called side lunges. And what I'm doing here is actually working the lateral and medial section of the thigh, so the outer thigh and the inner thigh. So I'm actually doing adduction and abduction. As you can see, I'm also making sure that my feet are straight and also flat on the floor, not lifting it up or turning it in an inverted or everted direction. This here is actually a knee, high knees, and I'm actually working on the hip flexors. So flexion of the hip, and then I'm going into like a sumo squat and also tiptoeing. So I am actually working the calf muscles and also doing a lateral pull and medial pull of the outer and inner thigh. Positioning your feet, I'm doing reverse side lunges, making sure that my back is straight and that I am balancing myself. Again, this works the anterior and posterior of the thigh, so your quadriceps and your hamstrings. You can also make your arm movement as well, working the arms. And then now I'm doing what you call side kicks. So this is actually an abduction and adduction of the outer and inner thigh. Making sure that my feet are straight